Money in marriage. They say that the number one cause or leading cause of divorces in America is due to financial stress and strain. It's due to money. According to the American Psychological Association, 40 to 50% of first marriages end in divorce, and 60 to 70% of second marriages end in divorce. And my goal with this video is to kind of bring to light some of the reasons why people are having divorces, what I think is the real reason, because I don't think it's just money. I think there's something about it, about money, that does it. But if I was to give you $1 million and say you had that $1 million, you would be elated. You would not be arguing and fighting about receiving the money. It's the second half of the money cash flow equation that gets people in trouble. And I'm going to share with you a story real quick to kind of prove my point. Now, I've been married for 28 years to the same woman, and I'm a financial coach. So I know a little bit about how to manage money, how to manage my marriage, and how to manage money in our marriage. So hopefully you'll get a lot out of this, and my goal is that at some point we'll be able to reduce those statistics and that people will have to have other reasons to fight about besides money. So many years ago, I actually lost my wedding ring. I was a gym rat for a little while, and anybody who's been in the gym and who's grabbed a dumbbell with a wedding ring on, you can either pinch your finger real bad or you can scratch the wedding ring, and you just don't want to do that or have that happen. So anyways, I had taken mine off and placed it, I thought, in my pocket, but apparently I got lost. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I decided I was going to go search and find a new wedding ring, and the wedding ring that I found was $600. I fell in love with it. I was like, this is an amazing wedding ring. This is the one I want. I was self-employed. I'm still self-employed, but I realized that in order for me to be able to purchase this wedding ring, I needed to just make more sales. So I set a goal. I determined how much money I needed to make to pay my regular bills, and then how much extra I needed to make in order to pay for that $600 wedding ring. So I did the math. I did how many sales calls I needed to make, how many appointments I needed to run, how many applications I needed to submit, all that stuff, how many sales I needed to make. And I actually ended up hitting the goal. My commissions were enough to pay my bills and then pay for and buy this wedding ring. And so I was super excited. So I go in to pay all the bills, and once the bills are paid, I'm like, yes, I'm going to be able to, now the next thing after this, I'm going to be able to buy the wedding ring. As I paid the bills, there was no money left. Like, it was gone. Like, there was no money. And I'm like, what the heck? I know I made more than I needed to. What happened? I went through, I made sure, I was like, I'm going crazy here because I know I hit the goal. I know I did what I was supposed to do to make sure that goal hit. So I was like, maybe I'm just gonna ask my wife. Like, I asked her, I said, hey babe, is there anything that came up unexpectedly that we need to know about, that I didn't know about before, that was an expense that came out of nowhere? And she says, no, I just bought a few things here and there. And for those of you who've been on my channel, you probably heard this story before. If you've downloaded my ebook, you'll hear about it as well. It's just such a pivotal story to my how I manage my own money now. And I had a couple options here. My wife literally said that she only bought a few things here and there for $10 or $20. So I went through and I calculated all of the little $10 and $20 purchases, the little frivolous spendings on whatever, going out to eat, or buying getting a drink at the store, getting a candy bar, whatever, shoes, whatever it was, just something for the kids, a little toy or whatever. I calculated all of that. And it was several $10, $20, $30, $40, $50 purchases, all small individually, but I added it all up and it was almost $900. Are you kidding me? $900 was spent. That was the ring. That was my wedding ring. I hit the goal, thankfully. I made enough money and it was spent. We probably went into debt a little bit, actually, because I don't know if I made that much more back then. The point is that these little expenses can add up quickly. The other point is I had a choice to make. And I feel like this is the part where marriages can start that slippery slope towards divorce, is when one person spends money, maybe innocently, maybe just here and there, and they just think they're spending $10 or $20, but adding it all up equals hundreds and hundreds and potentially thousands of dollars every month. And if you're not careful, those expenditures, that spending can absolutely ruin your financial goals and dreams, which is, bingo, the one thing I think that really is the cause for contention and the cause for divorce, is fighting over how the money is spent, not how the money's earned. Once you earn, I'm excited every payday. I'm excited every time I get a commission check. I'm sure you are, every Friday or every other Friday or however often you get paid. I bet you're ecstatic. And when your wife or husband gets paid, you're like, yes, money's coming in, woohoo. That's the exciting part of money. Nobody gets mad or fights or has divorce fights about that. It's the spending it afterwards that there's divorce fights. So I had a couple of choices. One, I could get mad at my wife. I could rip her a new one. I could begin that slippery slope towards divorce. Or two, we could take a look at these habits that we've had over the last several weeks and months and years and see if we can develop new habits to get us back on track and get us to a better place financially. Because awareness brings change. If you don't know you're blowing money like right and left, you're not going to change. You're not going to make the change necessary to get back on the same page with your spouse so that you can fix the problem and move forward together on the same page. So let's run through a couple of statistics. So according to Forbes, there's several reasons for divorce: lack of commitment, infidelity, extramarital affairs, too much conflict and arguing, getting married too young, financial problems, substance abuse, domestic violence, lack of support from family, health problems, religious differences, little or no premarital education. All of those things valid points. If you really look at each one of those though, you'll see that several of them, money touches them. And I'll get into it in a minute here. According to Morris Law Firm, there's financial difficulties, infidelity, arguing constantly, non-communicative spouse, intimacy, abuse, and lack of preparedness. Those are some of the major reasons for divorce according to Morris Law Firm. Also, according to the CDFA, which is a certified divorce financial analyst, so these are people who work with people who are going through financial problems in their divorce, and they see basic incompatibility, infidelity, and money issues. So let me ask you a question. Are you seeing a pattern here? If you aren't spending money the way that your spouse thinks you should be spending money, and you get into an argument, you're going to be arguing constantly. If you see how you spend the money differently, you're going to start to have incompatibility. I want to spend it this way. She wants to spend it this way. He wants to spend it this way. I want to spend it this way. You see the compatibility that comes in? If you're arguing constantly, if you're not compatible about how you want to spend, if you're not on the same page on how you're going to spend the money, you can start to see that I don't want to be intimate with somebody I'm arguing with. And if I'm arguing with them, the temptation starts to look elsewhere, to look outside the marriage, and that infidelity creeps in. Abuse can creep in because when you're stressed out and you're full of frustration, men, we can get physical, can't we? Women, you can implode, all kinds of things can happen. Do you see how money touches all of these things? And so if you can fix the money, which is the spending part, which is what I call in my coaching program, the management of your money, if you know how to manage money properly, you can probably avoid a significant amount of arguments. Now, I'm not going to say every argument. I'm not going to be so bold as to say you'll eliminate 100% of your fights about money. But if you were on the same page with your spouse, if you sat down and had positive money reinforcing talks and dreaming and thinking and planning about the future, and you got on the same page with how to spend the money, and you were building wealth and you were turning your income into wealth instead of spending it frivolously, and you were both on the same page, would you have nearly as many arguments and fights? Put in the comments below. If you've been divorced before, maybe this rings true. I'd love to hear your comments if I'm onto something here. I don't think it's making money that's the problem. I think it's spending money that's the problem. And so let's talk about a few more statistics. Here's a huge one from CNBC. 54% believe a partner with debt is a reason to consider divorce. 35% blame finances for the stress they experience in their marriage. Often at the heart of many couples' financial strifes is debt. 38% miss out on date nights when they're in debt. If you're in debt, you're not going to want to spend more money. If you don't spend more money going out to eat and kindling that relationship and keeping that dating alive. My wife and I, we go out to eat. Friday nights is our date night. And I still date my wife. She still dates me. We recognize that we got to keep the flame going. We got to do our part to keep that going. If we're in debt up to our eyeballs and we don't want to spend money, we're so frustrated with that, are we going to have any desire to be friendly with one another, intimate with one another? Are we going to have stress and all kinds of problems? So the idea here is if you can fix your money, get out of debt, and get right with your money, you're going to fix all kinds of problems in your marriage. My goal as a financial coach is to save marriages. I want to reduce the statistics. If 40 to 50% of people still want to get divorced, I want it to be for other reasons besides money. I don't want to have money be the main concern anymore. If you aren't stressed out about money anymore, you're not arguing all the time, if you're not stressed out about debt, if you're not drowning in debt, you're going to have a way better marriage. I promise you're going to have a way better life, just relationships, even just with your friends even. And Marriage, of course, is supposed to be a marvelous, wonderful, amazing institution where you're spending the rest of your life with your absolute best friend. And if you can't do that because you're constantly fighting about money, not good. Now, there's going to be lots of reasons to fight. There's going to be lots of reasons to have stress in life. But let's see if we can make sure that money is a less of a stress, and maybe take money off the table as a major stressor, and see if we can help you turn income into wealth. See if we can help you build a massive bank account. See if we can help you and your husband or wife get together on the same page and turn your income into wealth and build a massive bank account. I hope you got a lot out of this video. I hope that this helps you in your marriage, and we'll see you on the next one. Go ahead and check out the last video I made where I talk about how we should all be doing what the Doge is doing to eliminate fraud, waste, and abuse in our financial lives.